Hello, everyone, and welcome. Diana Rankin here with our information from a viewer that asked about illness and disease in the world. And we're going to look at that. And as you know, Phillip, Spirit Guide, always has an answer for us. And we will also get a message from one of my books, The Master's Book of Answers by Phillip. And that's just an oracle book. So we will just open up to any page and get that answer. So today the topic is on a question that one of you had on illness. Why is there illness and disease in the world? And we're going to take a look at that. And we have Wendy, right? I sometimes get these confused, so forgive me if I have, but I believe I'm talking to Wendy here. And she says, this is a good topic. My right hip has been very painful, and I've been throwing much love and healing at it. I'm sure there is something I miss. Wendy, I'm going to stop and tell a quick story here, and I think it not only will apply to you, but it'll apply to everybody. But before I get into Judy, I'm sorry, Judy, forgive me. I was thinking MRS, etc. was Wendy, but it's Judy. So forgive me. But I do want to also say this is not in any way to condemn anybody who goes through illnesses or a disease. I mean, that's horrible. Even a day of it is horrible as far as I'm concerned. But I want to say to Judy, and again, I'm sorry, Judy, my left hip, years ago, I used to ride a motorcycle. I know I don't look like a motorcycle rider. Always surprises people that I love to ride, but I love that wind in the freedom of it. But anyway, I did have a bad spill, didn't get home for a couple of months, but I injured my left hip. And years ago, I tore the cartilage out of my left knee. So never had the surgery to fix it. And still managed to get by. But yes, there's a lot of pain in the hip and a lot of pain in the knee, and it does stop me from traveling the way I used to. Anyway, if we remember that the body is, right brain is the feminine creative side, left brain is the masculine logical side. And if we look at it like that, my left side, the hip and the knee, will be especially painful if I'm not creating, and I really look at that, or if I'm ignoring an emotion. And so if it's the left side of the body, which is where, the energy crosses over. So the right brain is the feminine energy. It crosses over into the left side of the body. The left brain, and I'm pointing at my left brain, which is the opposite on the screen. I'm sitting here, I have to stare at myself. There aren't people out in my hands here that I could see. Anyway, the left brain is the more logical, masculine energy, and that crosses into the right side of the body. So it might be something you want to look at, Judy, that what is it I'm not seeing logically? Or do I need, I think you live in Germany, Judy, so you probably don't have this. But for me, when I have to get my income tax all ready for the accountant, I have to really work to get into that left brain because I'm predominantly in the right brain. But again, that hip or that knee will really hurt when I'm not putting forth enough creativity. We all have to have that balance of left brain, right brain. Women, probably generally speaking, very generally speaking, may have a little more right brain developed than men, but we need the balance of left brain, right brain. So I hope that gave you a little bit of help there, but let's see what Phillip has to say. And again, this is to help us. It's not in any way to say you chose your illness, so shut up. Absolutely not. This is to say illness does have a higher purpose. And I want to also say we are having a snow today. You can see out the window, it's just all white and it's beautiful. And we have a major storm coming in. So hopefully our reception is good today. But if it's not, I'm sorry. I'm in a rural area and we do not have the best internet available to us. So, but here we go. And if you have questions, put them in the comments below. If they're personal questions, we will answer those if you care to call me, and we'll set up an appointment for you. But if they're questions of an esoteric nature, please do just put them in the questions below. Julie says, "Hi, Diana. I've managed to be with you live for once. Yay! I'm visiting my mom, and she's 88 and has blood cancer, multiple myeloma. Julie from London, UK." And then she said, "Happy New Year, X's, kisses, and P.S. a Happy New Year to you and all on here. Before, again, I'm going to stop before I read Philip's explanation, because I want to be very specific about your mother, and bless her, 88. I'm 79. It gets harder in some ways and much easier in others. When we take a while to leave our bodies with an illness such as cancer, we do that for two reasons. One, or Alzheimer's or whatever, that takes us, that we start leaving the body or leaving the human part of us before we move into spirit world. I talk about that in A Found Child. I don't have a copy real handy here to show you, but one of my books, A Found Child, talks about that. And there are two reasons Philip tells us. One is, and by the way, all my books are available on Amazon if they're still in print, or you can just go to my website and click on one of the books and it'll take you right to the Amazon site. So two reasons. Sorry about the squeaky chair. One, we are helping those we love to get used to our transition, to get used to us not being here. And two, the other reason is we are still doing work, that we are working through our human issues before we let go. So one of those two reasons, and sometimes there's a combination. And sometimes we just need those who we love to tell us it's okay to let go. And Judy says, "Hi, Julia. I'm in London as well. Very cold. Very cold here as well. So hopefully it'll warm up for all of us. And I promise it'll warm up in June or July." All right, here's what Philip says about illness and disease. "Let us begin by saying, for those who suffer from ill health, whether on a temporary basis or for a lifetime, are not necessarily conscious that they choose illness or disease. We hear people protesting that they did not choose to be ill. This is because they were unable to hear that they are not necessarily conscious that they chose the illness or disease." So we don't choose it consciously. Of course not. But we are at a different, deeper level choosing it. And here are some reasons why. "Now that all have heard these words twice, we will proceed." That's Philip for you. He's not always the kindest or gentlest spirit guide. "Before birth, the soul chooses the outline of life, of the life the human will live. Unless an individual lives in their own awareness, they are unaware of their soul's choices. This is not to say this is good or bad, right or wrong. It just is to say truth." And I would agree with that. You know, we don't always know what our soul journey is to be. And sometimes we figure it out in hindsight. And there's little Piper saying hello. Sometimes we figure out that soul's journey with a moment of awareness. Oh gosh, that's part of it. So none of us, well, I won't say none of us have the whole story. Perhaps some of the great masters did or do. Not me. I'm not a great master. The question then is, why would anyone choose to be ill in a human body? There are multiple reasons. We'll discuss a few and allow you to discover the many. Let us take a newborn who dies of an illness shortly after birth. The newborn may come into human form only to realize they erred. They weren't yet ready, or they were still carrying the illness from another life, or they agreed with the parents to allow them to experience deep grief as to understand this emotion and heal it. These reasons also explain diseases many children have. There are other reasons as well. For example, let us say a doctor treated cancer in one life, so after death of that body, the doctor created cancer when returning to Earth in a new life. The once doctor is now a child with cancer. This child now understands cancer from another perspective. It's a pretty higher purpose, isn't it? The same can be true even if the disease doesn't appear until adulthood. The person may be a doctor in another life or another dimension, and the patient in this life is feeding the doctor information. Is this also true with less severe illnesses such as flu or a cold, you wonder? I just want to stop for a moment and say many children who come in with cancer or develop cancer soon after they are here, they may have also brought that in because it wasn't cured in the past life. In the past life, there may not have been any cures. That's another reason. Okay, let's go on with what Phillip has to say. It can be, but usually, okay, is this also true with less severe illnesses such as flu or cold? It can be, but usually less severe illnesses are to get your attention. They may be merely be asking you to treat your body with more respect and rest when needed, for example. Again, though, the spirit has agreed to the illness, even if the human consciousness is unaware. The body may become temporarily ill to keep you from a gathering where a greater threat to the body exists. Or you may agree to the illness to gain greater empathy for those who are unable to heal and suffer. As you can hear, there are good reasons for illnesses that can help the human grow in both spiritual and human ways. At any time, the human can make a different choice, but this is more difficult than it sounds. The human must first recognize and understand why they chose the illness, and then choose if they want to continue the path by their spirit self or change their path. Most will choose to continue on the path of illness. The exception is those who have gained the information and experience they requested. Once they have the knowing of the illness, there is no reason to remain ill. We have given only a broad brush answer for illness. What is of importance to know is that every being has freedom of choice, but the belief system must be aligned with the deeper spirit self for the human wish to manifest. What you believe is what you manifest. Julia says, hi to Judy. I live in London, but I'm visiting my mom in Manchester, and it's very cold here. I'm sorry, I already read that, didn't I? So what Phillip is saying here is if we're able to discern that deeper meaning behind our illness, whether it's the flu or a very more serious, well, the flu is serious, but a temporary illness or a more lifelong illness. Either one, we wanted to look at what is the deeper meaning behind this? What is it that I'm trying to learn? Or what is the real gift here? And the gift may simply be, I am wanting to feel more empathy for those who get ill. Or it may be, my body needs rest. I'm tired and I'm not taking the time to rest. So if I get ill, I have to rest. I grew up being taught you don't have time to get ill. So don't. So I rarely get ill, fortunately. However, I do things like I had a motorcycle spill and didn't get home for 2 months. I did a lot of meditation during that period of time. So I'm sorry I pushed myself to the extent that was how I rested, but I'm so grateful I had that 2 months where nobody had any demands on my life. All I had to do was heal. So if you're down for the week or weekend, or if it's greater than that, find the gift. It may not cure the illness, but it will help you feel a little bit better about it. Judy says, I've been trying to do this, but I suppose it is a journey. It is, Judy. We don't always see the answers. Just keep asking yourself and going deeper, because under every question is an answer, and under every answer is another question. So again, if the left hip is hurting, that is saying to me, come on, you need to be a little more creative here. If the right hip is hurting, I'm saying, I'm having trouble adding 10 plus 10 or 2 plus 2. I come up with 5. Maybe I need to come up with 4 sometimes. It isn't that we're doing anything wrong. Absolutely not. It isn't that we're missing the point. Absolutely not. It is that our bodies are these marvelous instruments to help us grow spiritually. And there's never any time limit on that. There's never any rush. Rushing actually gets us in trouble. So take your time. When we're ready, the answer comes, and not a second before. Rush says, hi, Diana, Piper, and friends. And we have a unicorn and a sunflower and a heart. Thank you, Rush. Good to see you, my sister. All right, my friends. I'm going to say thank you so much for being here, for holding the energy for me, for your questions, for your comments, either here or below. And what I always forget, you always have to remind me, is thank you for your likes, the thumbs up. I love you. I will not promise the easiest time, and I will not promise that you'll suddenly get ill or get well, but just remember there's a deeper purpose for the illness, and it may simply be you need a little rest. Or, I love you, my friends. Thank you for the love you send to us. Is she back? No, she's over here at the other rug. Thank you for the love you send us, and thank you for the love and the light you give to our world. You are so important. I love you, and I'll see you with another question answered next week. Until then, I'm going to try to do a moment of joy sometime this week. I keep saying I'm going to get it done, and I'm going to work really hard to get it done after taxes. Okay. Rush says thank you. Thank you. Next time.